Entrepreneurship, business is a team sport. It's not golf. It's not something that you are playing by yourself. More times that you try to do it alone without a business partner or at least business connections, a network, going to conferences, making friendships, not just shoving business cards in people's faces. When you build real relationships, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give.
So how do you stand out? You gotta leverage your influence. No pun intended. Guys, what's cracking? Mighty Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from the Clever Talks conference here in Sand Dog, where I turned into United States Marine 20 years ago. I'm excited to sit with these gentlemen, entrepreneurs, veteran entrepreneurs here, Andrew O'Brien and Omari Broussard. Guys, what's going on?
How's it going, man?
Good. Awesome, good. So Andrew, let's start with you. Give us a little brief background on your branch of service.
Yeah.
MOS. Same thing too with you, Omari.
Yeah. So I was an Army 88 Mike, which is a truck driver. So that was my job for 4 years, 07 to 2011.
Very good.
Omari Broussard, retired chief, U.S. Navy, IT, my hometown. It's good to be home. Did a lot of my career here, right here. So
it's funny that guys just mentioned it, because everybody thinks just because somebody's not an operator or somebody's not force recon or a SEAL that they can't be successful as a entrepreneur. You guys are obviously not that, but you guys are stud veteran entrepreneurs making it happen. And by the way, I was part of a special operations unit, but I wasn't an operator. I was a door gunner on a frog. So it's not that everybody has to be a ground pounding, bullet eating, recon ranger, shaved head, and all that good stuff. So because oftentimes people think, I wish I did this when I was in the Marine Corps. I wish I was this in the Army or Air Force. Listen, you guys are maximizing the talents and the gifts that you were able to hone in the service. So Andrew, what was your decision? Say, you know what? I'm not going to re-enlist. I'm going to do something in the civilian world.
The Army for me was never a career thing. I never wanted to do my 20. I joined because I was a screwed up teenager.
Yeah, you had a rough neighborhood.
Yeah, rough upbringing, rough life. Really had no other choice. GED, right? So I didn't even graduate high school, and so it's just like, what is next for me? I was doing a bunch of drugs, drinking a lot, and then the Army was like, it was my daddy. It was what turned me into a man. So it was always a stepping stone for me. I never planned on being a lifer. It was just what I needed to do to grow up to get to that next level.
Why did you need to get your GED?
Because I only got my GED because I had to have a GED to join the Army. If I wouldn't have had to have one, I would never even have a GED.
That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what was your transition, Mark?
I'm an anomaly, man. I was out here. I was going to Keeler Middle School. Buddy of mine, good friend of mine who's still in, did a book report called Men with Green Faces about Navy SEALs in Vietnam. Hooked. Done deal. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, where I was going to go. Joined the Navy right after high school. I was going to Southwest. I graduated from Southwest. Joined the Navy right after. 3 weeks after I graduated high school, I was in the Navy. There was no question what I was going to do with my life. But I knew afterwards I was going to be an entrepreneur. So my goal was to join the Navy, become a SEAL, and then get out. I actually got to go to SEAL training, and I got hurt. I got med rolled, and then I got med dropped.
Gotcha.
Then I
was that Buds?
Yeah, I went to Buds in '98, and was it '90? Yeah, damn. 1998.
20 years ago.
1998, man. I was at Buds over in Coronado, class 219. Got rolled to class 220, and I got med dropped. And I tried to go back. I did everything, passed the test, and they found out I had reactive airway disease, so I couldn't dive. So I was disqualified from diving. Wow. So I couldn't go back. And I couldn't go to SWIC because you have to dive physical. So my homeboy, who was best friend of mine that grew up with.
Can you explain what SWIC is? SWIC was like awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, so SWIC teams, they run the small, fast boats. They're able to put operators in and out of places with low water.
My favorite scene, Act of Valor.
Yeah, that's the best one. Like, if you ever have a question of what SWIC is, watch Act of Valor and watch that scene, and it gives you everything. Right?
Mowing everything down, baby.
And they work with all the forces. They work with the SEALs, they work with SF, they work with, they work with everybody. So that was my fallback. That didn't work out. One of my best friends I grew up with out here is a former SEAL. He was like, dude, don't stop. You can stay in. So I started my first business while I was in the military. And it's funny you bring up saying, hey, you don't have to be an operator in order to be an entrepreneur. I was teaching combatives and firearms to team guys while I was in not being a team guy. I got real good at that.
Right.
And that was kind of my start. And then, once I got out, I retired, bro. And I've been an entrepreneur ever since. So,
awesome.
That's kind of the story.
If there's one thing that the Army taught you in terms of utilizing it what's your slogan again? Business is our
new battlefield.
Yeah. If you would say one thing that your Army experience helped you to prepare for that battlefield, what would that one thing be?
It's resiliency, right? So resiliency is the biggest thing, and I think that's the most important thing to have in business. Yeah. It's not how much you know, it's not how hard you work, it's how hard can you get hit, right? Because in business, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get hit numerous times. It's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna hit the ground, then you get up, and you're gonna get up better than you were before, then you're gonna hit the ground a little bit less than the last time you hit the ground, right? And it's just, how many hits can you take and keep getting back up? And not just get back up, but keep fighting and hit back.
Yep.
And that, I think that's the biggest thing the military taught me was failure's not an option. You just got to keep fucking going no matter what happens.
Omari, you're a retired chief.
Yep.
Offense, and you're in charge of other sailors.
Yep.
And you leave the Navy and you're in charge of nobody. So there tends to be a drop-off, maybe call it pride, call it ego, call it nobody's looking up to me anymore, nobody respects when I walk into a room because civilians don't know what a chief is.
Right.
We do.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
I always have to say I was raised right. I got to see a lot that was going on. While I was running a business, so I got to be around other business owners, and I got to see it before I had that drop-off.
Yeah.
Right? So that was eye-opening to me. You know, I had good mentors in the civilian world that, you know, put me up on game real early.
Okay.
And while I was in, I had already had a personal assistant, you know, while I was in. So I prepared a lot while I was in before I got out. So when I got out, it was smooth. I knew I was a nobody. You know, I knew I had to earn my stripes.
And it's tough for a lot of guys getting up.
And I tell people, me and Andrew was just talking about this last night, don't nobody owe you a damn thing, man. You got to go get it just like you had to go get it.
Because you're a private now in first civ,
exactly.
right?
Right? What you did here, you know, no one cares about your past results. They care about what you're currently doing, what you can do. They don't care about what you did. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we're going to be.
You started, and obviously maintain today, the #1 Facebook group for veteran entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. What motivated you to start that group?
You know, I was making a lot of money. I was doing really well for myself in the business world, but I was miserable, right? Like my heart wasn't in it. And so I wanted to get back to the world that I felt, because I didn't grow up with a family. So what the Army gave me was family, right? It was nice to feel that again, to feel like I had my boys that I could start a fight and they would end it. Now they beat my ass when we got back to the barracks, but they had my back no matter what. And I never had that feeling in my entire life, right? So I wanted to get back to that family, back to that supportive environment. And so we started Vetpreneur Tribe, and I actually closed down a 7-figure company to start Vetpreneur Tribe. Just the money wasn't doing anything for me anymore. It wasn't filling that hole I was trying to fill.
So you built a 7-figure company, like a PR company.
Right.
And then you shut that down to run the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I built a 7-figure PR company in 12 months.
Why would you shut down a 7-figure company?
Because I just wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? Like I was serving the wrong people. I was serving people. When you're in PR, you serve a lot of egos, and I'm not good with egos, right? I just don't do well with them. I think all human beings have egos, and it can benefit us in certain places, but it also becomes damaging when it goes too far, right? So I served a lot of those people. So I got out and started Vetpreneur Tribe, closed that business down, did that for a year, built it over a year, and then I'm back in the PR world, but the right way this time, because I do miss the money.
Yeah.
You know, the money is great. It's not evil. But I figured out how to do it the right way, and now I got a business partner, you know, helping me out, because I went from making $80,000 in a year to a 7-figure company in a year, right? So I made so many mistakes in that time. I screwed up a lot, but I needed to, right? I needed to go through that experience.
That's interesting. So both of you have experienced some form of ups and downs in business. So oftentimes people think, oh, you know, this person here, this person here. And what we learned from Rudy Reyes yesterday, HBO's Generation Kill, actor, model, this guy, Force Recon, he looks like the model Marine, looks like the model Marine after the Marine Corps. But he shared yesterday, man, I've had some tough times even after all that stuff. Omari, let me ask you this question. How do you both deal with setbacks and for what most people call failure?
Quarterback principle is kind of what I think about and what I always talk about when people ask me this question. So imagine football. How much time does Tom Brady get from one play to the next to sulk about somebody missing the ball? to look at the bad things that happens.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how I look at it.
It's 45 seconds.
It's 45 seconds. It's not less.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on where the play is, where the ball is. Right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
right,
it doesn't matter. You know, you gotta, like, the faster you can pick yourself up is the faster you'll get to the goal. Right? I'm a big fan of Ryan Holiday's book, Obstacle is the Way. In fact, that was the book that the Patriots read before they won that championship a couple times ago. As the story goes, legend goes, don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard. But the obstacle is the way. So the failure, going through the failure is the way to achieve your goal.
So like you can't get around it.
You can't get around it. You can't go under it. In fact, if you don't go through it, you won't become the person you need to become to be successful.
Because those are the conditions.
Because those are the conditions. Right? And that's how I deal with it, man. Like, I studied Gary Vee, and one of the things he says is, like, you got to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, you're going to get hit in the mouth and you're going to cry. Yeah. And you're never going to get up. But when you enjoy the game, playing the game of business, then everything is supposed to happen. You know, the failures, you being broke, you getting turned down, you getting rejected, all those things need to happen in order for you to become who you need to become, to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do, and make the impact that you want to make.
A lot of veterans don't realize that if you want to be successful in business, you got to invest in you.
Right.
You got, like, money. You know, not just time. I mean, you know, because oftentimes free Thanksgiving dinner for veterans, and free tickets, Applebee's. But when it comes to business, ain't nothing. Nobody's hooking up with some free capital.
Right.
You know, so you've had both products to price yourself, to charge for services, high ticket, low ticket. Give me your experiences with both.
Yeah, so I went from, because when I was doing the PR stuff, I was doing $9,700 a month for a 3-month minimum contract or $30K up front and fly out and meet you in person. And that I had 10 clients at any given time. So I was making $100,000+ months because I had 10 different clients paying us $9,700 a month on an average basis, in between 7 and 10, right, depending on the month. And what I realized is I was doing that and the money was great. And then I stopped that company and I started Vetpreneur Tribe and I started selling a $97 a month product, right?
So 1%,
right,
of what you used to charge.
1% of what I used to charge. And the funny thing is I had more people complain about my $97 a month service than I had complained about my $9,700.
So more complaining about $97,
right,
versus the people that, you know, it's $9,700 a month,
right. And it's a mindset thing, right? And I've realized in our area of the veteran space, a lot of times we get too comfortable with everything being handed to us, with free healthcare, free college, free housing, free food. I mean, we are living with mommy and daddy for up to 20+ years, not having to pay for anything besides drinks and cell phone bills and car payments that's taken out of our paycheck, so we don't even really have to take our card out, right? Like those payments are literally taking out of our paychecks before we even see it. And then we get out and now we're like, wait, we got to pay for stuff. Right? And I think that's the biggest mindset shift that we go through. And Omari and I talk about this all the time. If you look at this event, when Hasselhoff was on stage, the room was packed. And he's not even an entrepreneur. But when Jocko Willink, Evan Hafer, Ryan Mitchler, Rudy Reyes were speaking, it's like a third of the room. And it's like everybody was more intrigued by an actor who has no business experience. I love the Hoff. I love what he's like. I love him. But the fact that that room was packed when a movie actor was on stage versus people who have actually built empires that they could really learn
brick by brick
stuff from. That is the perfect example of the issue that has to be solved within the veteran community. If you really want to do this, you got to invest in yourself and you got to work. And I don't care what rank you got out as. You're an E1 when you get into the civilian world. You got to start all over again. You got to earn that rank again. You got to build from the ground up and be willing to work hard, pay for it, learn, and implement. Don't just come to a conference, write some shit down because it makes you feel productive and do nothing with it.
Gotcha. So Omari, what would be your first bit of advice for somebody that's stepping up and out and they don't want a traditional job after the military, which is usually a cop, firefighter? By the way, the sheriffs are here. They got a booth over here, right? They're recruiting,
right?
You know.
Absolutely.
But if the business world is recruiting somebody, what would your first bit of advice be for somebody to go through the process and start the first business?
I'm going to piggyback exactly what he said because I feel so passionate about it now. Invest in yourself. That's the shortcut. I'm going to tell everybody the shortcut is invest in yourself. Here's what that means. Number one, be willing to pay top dollar to go to business conferences. Not standard, not early bird, I'm talking VIP. Go VIP to every conference you can.
Because the VIP, you get access to the VIPs. Like last night's, yesterday. Lunch.
You sitting with the bosses.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
After party.
After party. Yeah. You invited to everything. You get access.
Yep.
Right? And you have to be willing to pay for access. Yep. Right? And I've learned that from mentors that I follow. Like, I look at how they move and how they get in certain places, and like, Omari, you got to pay for access. So if you know that the person in that door is the key to your next move, but it costs $50K to get in that door, are you willing to pay $50K to get in that door? Because you don't have to. And then 15 years from now, you'll still be going, damn, I could have paid $50K and been in that door. So that's number one. And as far as investing in yourself. Number two, stop being so damn cheap. Right? Stop being so damn cheap. Pay for the $2,000 course. Right? When you pay for more expensive things, you get a better experience, you get better support. If you buy if you expect to build a $100K, $200K, $300K, $500K business off a $47 course, you're losing. You're an employee. Because that's what I pay for my team to go get learned, right? Mm-hmm. I pay thousands to get access and to get the education I need as an owner. I pay 20, 30, 40, 50 because I just need them to learn this one thing. Does that make sense? Sure. Invest in people. That'd be the third thing, invest in self. So if you're an entrepreneur and you getting in the game, the first person you should hire is a personal assistant. The days of you checking your email, booking phone calls, we just talked about this, we just hired one. You know, I've used a remote one for years. Like, you only need to be doing the thing that you're very good at. The thing that puts points on the board is what you need to do. You got to have that assistant to kind of alleviate that. And those are the three ways to invest in yourself. Pay for access, pay for quality training, and get in front of quality people. That includes coaches and mentors, right? Now, here's a tip, pro tip. If you pay access to VIP, you're probably going to meet somebody that's going to be willing to mentor you because they already know you already paid the price because you paid the price to get in the room. So they're going to want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like you can get a good lunch meeting after that, right? You can't get that sitting in the crowd. Sorry. It's not
you can't be, like, they won't respect the attendee.
No.
Right?
No.
Respect the boss, the VIP.
You're like, okay, let's talk. Let's chop it up. Pay for access, pay for quality training, good mentors, good coaches, shortcut it, right? A lot of shortcuts there. And then number three, invest in people. Here's what I mean. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I have a client to see tomorrow, and I'm like running around, going crazy, kicking myself in the butt. But I knew I had to get 5 binders printed out, and I could have did it on FedEx. And I spent like an hour, and I'm like, this is dumb. So then,
because you're understanding the value of your time.
Exactly.
That's why you hire people.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So then, one of the volunteers, I know her at the conference here. She's like, Omari, I can print that out for you. I'm like, you can. Then I got a trust factor kicks in. Yeah. All right, cool. Here's what I need. I need to do this, and this. Oh, I can do that. Cool. What's your PayPal email?
Nice.
Sent her some money.
Yeah, 100%.
Guess what I got when I showed up this morning?
Those things that you asked for.
Those things I asked for.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
So invest in other people because they can get you. They can accelerate your success. You know what I'm saying?
Same thing I did here. I asked the guy that was here as a volunteer, could you help me set up some interviews?
Yeah.
Can you make some introductions to people that you know?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Easy day.
Create a job, right?
Like,
just
on,
line
man.
them up. Okay. So let's talk about a book, Leveraging Influence, right? Which I think is pretty intriguing because we're having a conversation about Jocko. You know, Jocko, Extreme Ownership, Dichotomy of Leadership. He's got 2 bestsellers, number 2, number 7 right now, bestsellers list. But Jocko isn't talking about anything brand new to a lot of people in the community. We know the stuff, and it's resonating with us. And he was just smart enough to put it in a book with his experience. It's not like he created the Navy SEALs.
Right.
He's just a stud in the Navy SEALs. Jocko without a book. What's Jocko without a book?
And that's the thing, right? And again, I respect what he's done, but
100%.
he's
we all do.
Nothing. Like, you are nothing without the book, without... Omari said the perfect way. Take away his experience.
Nothing as a SEAL, but nothing as an entrepreneur.
As an entrepreneur, right? And it's not, again, nothing negative about him at all. He's done amazing things. I'm impressed by him. But Omari said the perfect way is like, if you take away his military experience, if you take away his war stories, who is he? Right? And that's the thing is, I think a lot of us get out of the military, we want to hold on to the past. And like the college athlete that is 50 years old, the big belly talking about his college days, right? We should be proud of what we've done, of what we've accomplished, of what we've experienced, no matter if you were, you know, a ground pounder, a freaking paper pusher. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Mess duty.
Be proud of what you did, but that's in the past. Like like Omari said, what are you doing now and in the future? So the biggest thing that I see, a lot of people want to be known for their name, right? But if you look at Evan Hafer and Jocko Willink, who's going to be around in 20 years, right? Evan Hafer will be around a lot longer. Again, it's because Evan Hafer didn't build a company off of Evan Hafer. Evan Hafer built Black Rifle Coffee Company. Unless you're a veteran entrepreneur, you don't know who Evan Hafer is, right?
But you know Black Rifle Coffee.
But you know Black Rifle Coffee. So he's created something that can be passed down. He's created something that can be an empire that isn't based off of personal branding. And I think everybody likes personal branding because it makes them feel good about themselves and it makes them feel special, but it's not long term.
Should somebody have a company brand and a personal brand?
Yeah,
combined together?
I think you always want to combine them together. If you look at like Digital Marketer, right? Digital Marketer is the biggest marketing training company in the world.
He's in Austin, right?
Yeah, he's in Austin, and that's Ryan Dice. You know Ryan Dice, and you know Digital Marketer, but if Ryan Dice leaves Digital Marketer is still there. And just like ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson, if you look at all these big companies, Walmart and Sam Walton, Sam's Club and Sam Walton, you know who created it, but it doesn't matter that they're here or not because that company is still there.
Dana White, UFC.
Right.
Greg Glassman in CrossFit. Greg, I remember when I got certified back in 2006, he was still teaching certs.
Yeah.
Greg Glassman's not teaching certs anymore.
But CrossFit still lives on.
Thriving.
Yeah. I mean, ESPN's got yearly competitions, man.
Thriving without him.
How do you guys operate as business partners without clashing? How do you guys do that?
So we know our strengths, right? My strength is publicity, and my strength is drinking. Right? So what I do, right?
Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, coffee with spikes in it. When we go to conferences, I do well partying because what I've learned is conferences, you go to the conference, you can learn things, you can meet people, but the real connections happens at the bar afterwards, right? That's where you build relationships. You're not passing out business cards, you're not shoving cards in each other's faces. You're hanging out over some beer and talking about stuff. We did it last night. We found out that we are going to be working on a GI Bill approved freaking marketing course because one of our vets has created a GI Bill approved marketing course in Nevada, so now the GI Bill will pay
for it. Beautiful.
Right? So that's what happens after hours. And so that's what I specialize in. And Omari, he is processes and learning, and he's a leader. Yeah. He's been trained to be a leader for 20 years. I'm not a leader. I hate people. Like, I don't do well as a leader. It's my weakness. So I think we focus on our strengths, right?
Absolutely. That's how we work. You know, at the underlying, there's something below that, though. And we're still figuring it out, you know what I'm saying, as we go forward. But, you know, baseline, above the surface, it's he does what he does well, I do what I do well. And then if we both suck at something, then we realize, hey, this is something we need to have somebody else do. Right? Now, below the surface, it's I got you no matter what. Right? So in public, you may be a dick to somebody, right? Sorry for home team, but it's true, right? Or something may happen in public, and it's my response. I gotta back you, but in private we don't have that talk.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You can't embarrass me in public, but I got you. And then we have that mentality. We ride for each other. You know, I think we're so much in our strengths. We're not dependent on each other. We're interdependent, right? So we have separate things going on our own, but then we have this thing that we can do together. We make money. So now I'm not like, if Andrew decides to take a day off instead of doing an interview, I'm not mad. You know, if I decide not to run a Facebook campaign, he's not mad. First, you gotta have that, you know, below the surface loyalty, right? And then above the surface, you gotta be in your lane. I don't try to tell Andrew what he does in his lane. We make suggestions, we collaborate, and we spend, by offloading a lot of our weaknesses, we spend more time thinking than we do doing. So we can really think. Like, we take 5 walks a day. Like, every hour and a half, we take a 20-minute walk. It gives us time to think. But when you're caught up in the day-to-day and you never like really think or strategize, then everything's knee-jerk.
Gotcha. What's the hashtag for veterans to discover veteran entrepreneurs? Is it Vetrepreneur, veteran entrepreneur?
So it's Vetpreneur.
Vetpreneur.
Right? So without the RE, so it's not Vetrepreneur, it's Vetpreneur.
VET-preneur.
Yeah.
Vetpreneur. We'll put that in the edits. Vetpreneur.
But the biggest thing there, Vetrepreneur is put on by the National Association of Veteran-Owned Businesses. So it's different than what we do, right? And it's not political, it's not bureaucratic, it's just guys, men and women, hanging out, having conversations.
Cool.
So,
what's one bit of advice to a veteran, a vetpreneur that is in transition out, they want to go into business? What will be one last bit of advice for them?
the biggest thing I'm going to say is stop acting like you got to do it alone, right? We all understand teamwork when we're in, but then we get out and we think, screw everybody else, I'm going to figure this out on my own.
Spot on.
Right? And that's why I have
so
a
frustrating
business partner now, right?
Yeah.
I tried it, and I sucked at it. And I think as entrepreneurs, it's a lonely world, right? It really is. You can literally stay behind a computer all day, never interact with another human being, make good money, but you can't do it alone. It's entrepreneurship. Business is a team sport. It's not golf. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you are playing by yourself. And I think the more times that you try to do it alone without a business partner or at least business connections, a network, going to conferences, making friendships, not just, you know, shoving business cards in people's faces. When you build real relationships, that's the biggest piece of advice I could give.
I love it. Omari, same question.
Invest in yourself. That'd be part two. If you do those two things, if you know, going back to what I said before, if you don't do it alone, understand that it's not golf, it's more like football and rugby and basketball and soccer all at once. It's very chaotic. And then invest in yourself. Stop being so damn cheap. You're blocking yourself, right? You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. In the business world, that's what a lot of veterans don't understand. They're transitioning to be in business. There is no handouts. There's no free programs. Like, if you want to get it, you got to pay for it.
There's no free, interest-free
There's no interest
loans to start your business.
No. So invest in yourself and then sell something as quick as possible.
Bingo. This makes money.
Make some money.
I want to add one more thing. So
100%.
Speaking here was Ryan Mitchler, right? Big beard, Order of Man guy. I bought his course, which was called the Tribe Builder, took that course, implemented it, and built the world's largest community of military veteran entrepreneurs to ever exist. Because I invested in his education, because he had done what I had never accomplished before. Building a tribe was brand new to me. I'm not going to go in just not knowing what I'm doing. I paid for the course, implemented, built the world's largest.
Wait, say that one more time. Number one, what'd you do? You bought the course.
Right.
Paid for it.
Paid for it.
Number two,
Took it
and implemented it. And number three, you built the largest military veteran entrepreneur community on Facebook in the world.
That's it.
Like those three things. Invest in yourself. One of the easiest ways to invest in yourself, I'll preface it with this. One of my buddies is a copywriter, writes copy like I do. And he wrote an article about the secret government facility that nobody knows about.
Not Area 51?
No, the library. So every time I go to the library, I call it the secret government facility. All the knowledge in the world is in there. You know what I'm saying? So
and nobody's checking it out.
And nobody's checking out books, right? So reading, read books have so much, knowledge and wisdom. They're all in books. Everything that we need to know in business is in a book. Now whether it's cool because you might be, audio book. You can read a book. Heck, some books, they have the video breakdown of the book. There are programs right now. Mentor Box, one of my favorite programs, right? It's like, they had like a $7 a month option. They would basically have the author pull out all the main points of the book and give you exercises to do so you retain the book at 10 minutes a day. Epic. So reading is super important, like super, super important, and most people don't, And what I mean by that is, doesn't necessarily mean, hey, I don't read a physical book, but audio, Some people, what high level cats do, this is a hack. They'll listen to the audio and read the book at the same time.
That's a big hack.
That's a major key right there. Take that home.
Well, for those of you who are watching this show, man, I'm glad you tuned into this. Follow these gentlemen. We'll put their Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook handles right here. But thanks for tuning into the Living Money Smart Veteran Entrepreneur Series of the Money Smart Guy, a community where people want to know more, do more, and be more. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.